Hello, welcome back to Let's Use the C Word. I thought I'd do a quick check-in and update because it's Friday, so I had my laparoscopy and feeding tube installed yesterday afternoon, and all went relatively well. The good news is obviously what that enables the surgeon to do is have a good look round, check that everything is as per what they expect. They also put some markers in so they know exactly kind of what they're doing in the main surgery on the 23rd. The great news is that from a visibility perspective, the tumours shrunk hugely, which is good news. As I said before, it doesn't actually change anything in terms of what happens next, but it just means that the process is so much easier, more straightforward when it comes to the main surgery. Unfortunately, I was in quite a lot of discomfort when I came into recovery. So I had a fairly substantial hit of morphine, which thankfully did exactly what it says on the tin, which was really good. So what was good news in terms of everything that the surgeon saw was he was confident that we can go ahead exactly as planned. Nothing kind of untoward in terms of what he was able to see. The even better news is there was always well, actually up until recently, it looked like the side surgery, which removes my esophagus, had to be done by open surgery. But actually, we're now looking at that's going to be done potentially by keyhole. And there's a couple of really good news stories around that. One is obviously from a scarring perspective, it's a lot smaller. But also it reduces some of the risk of complication. Complications, as I've mentioned before, are still quite significant because they have to collapse the lung. But actually, if they do this part of the surgery via keyhole, it does minimise some of those risks. And as with anything, you know, the less that you can do in terms of intrusion, the better. So yes, surgeon's very, very pleased with my progress. I did actually have a reasonable night. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of confusion about what I could eat. So I'm on something that's called a free fluid diet for 24 hours after having, actually, to be fair, it's the feeding tube. It's nothing to do with the laparoscopy. It's the feeding tube. So I don't know whether you can see in the top corner of my video screen there, the kind of beigey liquid. So what's happening now is they're testing my feeding tube to make sure that there's no leaks or discomfort and bits and pieces. So they're doing that now. And you can see the little purple machine there. That is the pump that actually administers it. So not massively dissimilar to the chemotherapy. Thankfully, it's on a slightly smaller scale because that, I believe, is what will come home with me post the main surgery. So they're going to do that. I'm then going to see the nutritionist. She's going to advise me as to whether that is doing or is behaving itself. So far, I have to say, whilst it's being administered at the moment, I'm fine. I'm relatively comfortable. So that's all good news. What I will do is I'll give you a little update when I get home. Tell you exactly the outcome of both kind of how that feeding test has gone. And a little bit more about what happens next. But I thought I'd give you a very quick update and a little check-in from me. It's been, yeah, it's been interesting. As I said, I'm feeling pretty good. Stomach muscles are a wee bit sore, but overall, I think it's been a huge success and lots of real positive news from what the surgeon could see when he had a little look around. So watch this space. I'll give you another update, hopefully in the next kind of 24 hours. And should be able to fill you in a little bit more. But thanks for tuning in.